Hey, what's going on, you guys? Today I'm going to be taking you step by step on how to create an interactive stock watch list in Google Sheets. So this is a really great tool to be able to decide when you should be buying, selling, or holding different stocks, and it's also going to help you be able to evaluate how different types of stocks are doing as a whole. So I'm going to go ahead and quickly show you some of the different capabilities that this watch list has. So the first thing we want to talk about is our target buy and target sell area. Based upon what we put in right here, the stock watch list will tell us when we need to be buying, selling, or holding stocks. So for example, let's say we have Apple listed right here. Let's say I think Apple's a company that I want to buy at $140 a share and sell out of at $150 a share. So based upon that data, it's going to tell us that we should be holding the stock currently. If this changes to, let's say we want to buy in at $135 a share and sell at $170, we can see it's still a hold. Let's say our target sell price is $138, and based upon that, we currently want to sell the stock. If our target buy price were to be, let's say, $160 and our sell price is $180, we have a formula in place to tell us to buy. So that's a really great tool. We have a lot of formulas set up here to automatically pull all these individual metrics. So let's say instead of Apple, we want to look at Tesla. We'll put in Tesla's stock ticker right here, and you can see that all these are showing blank right here. And when I hit enter, all that data is going to automatically pull based off what I've put in right here. So you can see we have the day's high, the day's low, the change, 52-week high, 52-week low, the 12-month return. We have a 12-month trend line right here, and we even have the industry pulling. So based off what I have right here, these charts are going to show the metrics listed above. And so we can see how the industries of our stock watch list are performing. We can also see our individual stock days change here as well. And in this middle section, this is our stocks at a glance section. So this is a great way to see and get a better look at how individual stocks are doing. So if I click right here, you're going to see I have a list of all of my stocks listed in my watch list above. So let's say I want to look at Bank of America. We're going to select this ticker right here, and we have our price, our days change, 12-month return, the industry, and the days high and days low listed here. And then we have our 12-month chart and our 1-month chart. And this is all based off of the stock that we select right here. So we have some great metrics to show you how the stock's been performing recently as well as over the past year. So this is an extremely useful and effective stock watch list. It has so many different capabilities, which is the reason that I'm going to be sharing this with you today. Some of the formulas can look a little intimidating, but don't worry, because I'm going to take you step by step on how to create this, and I'll even leave some of the formulas in the description. If you want to download this stock watch list or any of my other portfolio trackers that I've created, then you can head to my Patreon page. The link will be in the description. So with that being said, let's go ahead and dive into the video. Okay, so the first thing we're going to want to do to start this watch list is I'm going to come up here to the top and title this watch list. Whatever you put here is going to be what it saves as in Google Sheets. So make sure you name it something that you will recognize. I'm just going to go ahead and name it Dividonology Stock Watch List. Then I'm going to come right here and merge these cells, and we're going to use our first formula, and I'm going to do equals now, open parentheses, which is going to give us the current date and time. Then all I'm going to do is I'm going to come here and I'm going to play with the font size, figure out what works best, and center this text as well. And then we're going to come to this right over beside it, and we want to select all these cells and merge these cells. And here I'm just going to go ahead and title my watch list, and I'm going to go ahead and keep it what I saved the watch list as, which is the name of my YouTube channel and then just stock watch list. And let's make this font size a little bit larger and make sure this text is centered. And now let's go ahead and step to the next part. So here I'm going to type in symbol and price. So this is where we're going to insert our data. I'm just going to go ahead and put a list of random stocks. And this first formula is going to be a simple one. It's just equals Google Finance, open parentheses, and then you select the stock next to it. And I'll drag this down and that'll fill in automatically. So the Google Finance tool is a great tool. It's going to help us pull some of the metrics automatically. Then I'm going to come here and add borders. And we're going to go ahead and move on to the next one. So here we want to see the day's high, and we're also going to want to see the day's low as well. So we're going to use Google Finance formulas for this as well. So if we do equals Google Finance, select Apple over here, and comma, and type in high, close parentheses, you can see it's going to give us the current day's high. And I'm going to do almost the exact same thing for the low, except instead of typing in high, I'm just going to type in low and close the parentheses, and you can see the formula up top. I'll drag this down, and now we have the day's high and the day's low for our watch list. Now we're going to add some more metrics. I want to see the days change. So for this, I'm going to hit equals Google Finance once again, come over here and select Apple, comma, and just type in change and close the parentheses. And let's divide it by 100 so we can turn this into a percent. So if I come up here, you can change it to percent right there. We'll drag it down, and we can see the days change. So these are some of our metrics for the day. Let's go ahead and fill this in with a border, and we will move on to some other metrics. So something that's really useful to see in a stock watch list as well is a 52-week high and a 52-week low. So we're going to use a Google Finance formula for this again. Select Apple, and then we want to see high 52 and close that parentheses, and you can see that Apple's year high, and then we're going to do the same thing for a 52-week low. So you can see this Google Finance tool is really useful. There's a whole lot that you can pull from this Google Finance formula. So let's go ahead and give this borders as well, because now we have some metrics to see how it's performed over the past year. So now I want to go ahead and see the 12-month return on this stock. So we're going to do equals Google Finance, select Apple just like we have been doing, comma, and we're going to select our price. But then we're going to divide this, and you can see the formula here I'm going to use. And essentially what this formula is going to do is it's going to divide Apple's price at two different points in time, today's date and the price from a year ago. And when I hit enter, it's going to give us the 12-month return on that. So you can see the formula listed there. I'll hit enter, and we can see what our 12-month return for these stocks are. So that one was a little more complicated, so rewind if you need to, or pause the video and make sure you get that formula correct. And now that we have a 12-month return, we are going to want to see a 12-month trend line. And this is one of the more complicated formulas, so I'll be sure to post this one in the description as well. But we're going to do an equals sparkline Google Finance formula. And this is a really cool tool. This is one of my favorite things that Google Finance can do. And so we're going to select our price from Google Finance. And we're going to say today because we want today's price. Then we want to subtract that by 364 days. Then we're going to do a comma, and we're going to select today as well. And okay, there we go. We have our trend line. So that's a very cool tool that Google Finance allows you to utilize. So let's go ahead and select these and give these borders as well now. And now this is where the target buy and target sell price is going to come into play. So whenever you have a watch list, you want to know at certain times when you want to buy and sell a stock. So I'm just going to put in some random numbers right here. And these are the numbers we're going to use to decide if these certain stocks are stocks that we should be buying or selling. And we want to set this up to where it's going to automatically tell us based on what we've put in as our target buy and target sell. So I'm going to type in stock rating right here, and I'm going to do a formula that's going to help us decide when we should buy and when we should be selling stocks. So you can essentially see this formula that I am typing out is going to be based off of what the current price for each of these stocks is. And we're going to use an if formula that will allow us to show whether the stock is a buy, a sell, or if we should be holding the stock. So when I hit enter, you can see this all filled in, and it is currently telling us which stocks we should buy, what we should sell, and what we should hold. That's another formula that I'll be sure to post in the description, and you can kind of read and see what it's saying. But essentially, like I said, based on what the target buy price and target sell price is, it's going to tell us what to do. So now I'm going to add conditional formatting, and we want to select text contains, and if it's a buy, we want it to show up green. And if it's a sell, I'm going to come down here and make that show up as red. And we're going to add another value, and if it shows up as a hold, we want to make that show up as yellow. So I know I went through that part kind of quick, so rewind if you need to, or ask any questions in the comment section below and I'll be sure to help you. So let's go ahead and give this an outer border as well. And the last thing we're going to want to see over here is our industry. This is going to be the most complicated formula. I've used this in some of my other tutorials before, but we're going to go to Google and we're going to search Fidelity Research. And I'm going to show you why. So if I scroll down here, we're going to go to stock market research with fidelity.com. And I'm going to look up Apple's. And if I scroll down, let's see if I can find it. And okay, so right here, Fidelity tells us what industry and what sector Apple is in. And so we want to pull this data into Google Sheets. So we are going to import this data. It's kind of a complicated formula. I'll be sure to have this in the description. And I'm just going to go ahead and paste this in here. And so you can see this is a long formula. You can see it listed right there, and when I enter this in, you can see that we have successfully pulled this data from Fidelity Research. And you can see right there, yep, information technology. So it lines up, we did it correctly. We pulled from the correct table, so if we drag this down, it should automatically pull each of these stocks' industry, and it looks like it did so successfully. So now let's just make sure this is lined up. We'll select this. Let's give it an outer border. And let's select these metrics right here, give them an outer border just to clean things up a little bit. And select this row as well, and let's bold all of that text. So now we can see the watch list is really starting to come together. So the next thing I'm going to do is I'm just going to fill in this row with a color. This is just going to split up the different sections of the watch list to make it look a little bit cleaner and keep things organized. So now we want to see the stocks at a glance section. So I'm going to merge these cells here and put in my title for this section, which is, like I just said, stocks at a glance. And what we're going to want to do here is we're going to want to show a few metrics depending on the stock we select, as well as a couple of trend lines. So we have a few things we're going to add. I need to get this font size correct first. Okay, so that looks pretty good. We'll keep it at that font size for now, and we'll add an outer border. And I'm going to go ahead and center this text as well. While I'm at it, let's go ahead and fix this and center that text right there as well. And now all I'm going to do is I'm going to put in some metrics that we're going to want to see for these stocks at a glance. So I want to see the stock. I want to see its price like always. I want to see the days change. I want to know the 12-month return. I want to know what industry it's in. And I want to know the days high and also the days low. And so we kind of just went over how to do some of these formulas. But the first thing we need to do here is we need to go to data, and we want to do a data validation. So if I come to this right here, I want to select all my stocks, and you're about to see what this is going to do. So what this is going to allow me to do is when I hit save, if I come over here, I can now select what stock I want to look at more in depth. So you can see the list right here. So all the stocks listed and the watch list above are listed right there. So for now, I'm just going to go ahead and list Apple. We're going to use a Google Finance formula, just like we did up there, and select the cell above it. And we're going to do a days change, Google Finance, select Apple right here. And we're just going to type in change and close the parentheses. And divide that by 100 so we can see what it looks like as a percentage. So we'll come up here and change that to a percent. Now we're going to want to see our 12-month return as well. So for our 12-month return, we're going to do the same formula that we used up above essentially, except we're going to select Apple from right here. And we want to divide that by the stock price at a different date, the date from 1 year ago. And it looks like we have an error here, so let's look at our code and see where we messed up. And okay, it looks like right here I accidentally clicked the wrong cell. It needed to be the cell above it. So I'll fix that in the two different places, and we'll reinsert that. And okay, so now it's correct, and we can see our 12-month return. So let's make this a percentage, and we can see that our 12-month return lines up with the one from above. So now I want to select the industry. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to do a little workaround. I'm just going to copy and paste this code that we used up here for industry and insert it. But we need to go up above and fix the cell that it's pulling from. So we want it to pull from not the Apple located at the top, but the one we just created at stocks at a glance. So let's fix that right here. And now we should be good to go for that one. And I'm going to go ahead and fix the font for that as well. And for the days high and days low formula, those are kind of easy. Those are ones we did earlier. We're going to use the Google Finance formula like we have been. And it looks like I messed up. Let's see what I did. And okay, so it looks like I did the exact same thing I did earlier. We want to select the cell above it and hit enter. So that was correct. And now we're going to do the same thing for the days low. So now we have all our metrics in for the stocks at a glance area. So I'm going to highlight all these. I'm going to come up here and give it an outer border to keep things clean. So now you'll see here, if I select one of these stocks, everything will change accordingly. So we can get a better in-depth look at individual stocks. And so for example, say I wanted to look at stock ticker O, we can see its industry and we can see all these metrics that we listed right here. Now I'm just going to go ahead and center that, make sure all this is working, and it seems to be working perfectly based off the formulas we put in. So now the next thing we're going to do is we want to see two different trend lines. So I'm going to come up here and make a spot to title these trend lines. And the two different trend lines we're going to want to see are we're going to want to see a 12-month trend line and a 1-month trend line as well. So I'm just going to go ahead and title this 12-month trend. And we're going to come over here and title it 1-month trend. So let's fix this. Let's center the text and make it a little bit bigger. And this 12-month trend is going to be just like our 12-month trend we have up above, but we want to make it bigger. So I'm going to merge all these cells. And we're going to do another equals sparkline Google Finance formula. So we're going to select this cell right here. So based off whatever cell we have right there, right now it's Microsoft, the trend line will be based off of whatever's listed right there. So we want to select the price from today minus 364 days ago. And then we also want to select today's date. And what this is going to do is it's going to show us a trend line from 364 days ago all the way to today. So now we have our 12-month trend line. And you can see how clean that came out. That looks so great. So now we're going to do a 1-month trend line, but essentially what I did is I just copied and pasted the same formula over, and I'm just going to go in and change the minus 364 to minus 30. So now instead we're going to see a 1-month trend line, and you can see this is just such a great tool to have in Google Finance. And so based off what's right here, let's say I want to look at AT&T, we can see their 12-month trend line and their 1-month trend line based off what we have right here. So if we want to look at regions, sometimes it takes a second to load. We have the 12-month trend line, and okay, so now the 1-month trend line has loaded. So just play around with it, make sure everything's working correctly and the formulas are pulling correctly. If you followed everything I just did, they should be good to go. So now we're going to add one more section to our watch list. So I'm going to add another line here to keep things separate. Let's try to get this the same color as the line above, and give it an outer border. So I'm going to come down here and I'm going to merge this cell. And we want to make two charts. So the first chart we're going to make over here to the left is going to be the industry days change. So let's go ahead and increase this font size and center that text. And then let's make our other title over here and merge these cells. And over here we want to see our individual stocks day change. So we want to be able to see in a graph all the stocks we have on our watch list. We want to be able to see that as a visualization. So let's go ahead and give these outer borders as well. And so now it's time to start actually making the chart. The industry days change chart is going to be a little more complicated, so we're going to come over here and we're going to add another area to do some work to create this chart. So what we want to do is we want to do equals, and we want to come up here and select Apple. And the reason we're going to do that is so we can have this on a different sheet, and we're going to drag this down so we have all of our stocks listed. And we don't need this right here, so I'm going to take that off. And to create this chart, we're also going to want two other things. We're going to want the days change for all the stocks, And then we're also going to want the industry that they're in. So I'm going to drag this down here. And now we're going to use a formula called the unique formula. You're about to see what I put in here. And what this is going to do is it's going to select each of the industry that's listed right here, but only one time. So I'm going to highlight all of the industries and hit enter, and you can see every industry of all the stocks we have is showing up. And now we're going to use an if statement to create our data for our industry days change. And I'll have this formula posted in the description as well. So I'm going to come over here and select the industries listed. And then I want to select their days return. And I'm going to hit enter right here. So you can see they all filled in automatically. We want to put this as a percentage. And so that's a formula that's really useful. So to create our chart, I'm going to select this area right here. The reason I'm doing more is in case we have more industries added to our watch list in the future. So I'm going to come over here and select Insert Chart. And it's showing up as a pie chart. I don't want it as a pie chart. I want to be able to see it as a bar chart right now. And okay, so here's our bar chart. So we can see that information technology is currently having a pretty good day in the market, while real estate and financials are up slightly, and communication services are up slightly, just a little bit as well, based off the stocks in our watch list. So I'm going to copy and paste this chart over to our first page. And I'm going to try to line this up neatly. And now we're going to make our last chart. So I'm going to select all the stocks right here. And then I also want the days change as well. And all I'm going to do is I'm going to come up here and select Insert and select Chart. And you can see that this chart came up automatically as a bar chart. So that's a very easy chart to make, but also very useful. Anytime you can use a visualization to better understand your watch list, it's going to be a great and helpful tool. So now I'm just going to try to line this up and make it look nice and lined up with the other chart. And I'm going to come here and take this title off that's already on the chart because we've already made a title up above. So if I come right here and zoom out, you can really start to see the watch list coming together. And you can see it just updates automatically, so that's very helpful. And now what we're going to want to do is we're going to add some conditional formatting to our percent changes. So if we come up here and select Format and go to Conditional Formatting, we want all of our positive returns to show up green and all of our negative returns to show up red. So I'm going to select greater than 0. Anything greater than 0 should show up green. We'll add a rule and say anything less than 0 needs to show up red. So that's a great way to quickly see which stocks are performing best in your watch list. You can see here we have some positive returns over there and some negative returns here. And now I'm going to select everything in this area right here, and we want to add a filter. So what this is going to allow us to do is it's going to allow us to sort our metrics by however we want, and I'll show you what I mean by that. But before I show you how the filter works, let me go ahead and fix some of the spacing on this just so we can visualize all this a little bit better. So you can see all I'm doing is I'm up here and on the columns, I'm just grabbing the columns and stretching them out a little bit, which provides a little bit more space. So now I need to come down here and fix the charts since I'm on these changes, and we'll just stretch them out a little bit more. So you can see in the short time that we've been talking, the financial industry has actually gone negative for the day, and we can see that in our industry days change chart. But you can see here, now I have the ability to filter. So let's filter by our days change. And so now all of our stocks are listed from from greatest to least on their individual stock days change. So you can see our greatest return on the day is Apple. And so let's go ahead and add some conditional formatting down here to our stocks at a glance area. We'll do it for the percentages, and we're going to do the same thing. We want to say anything greater than 0 will show up as green. And then we'll add a rule and say anything less than 0 will show up as red. And let's come up here and just do a little bit more formatting. I'm going to increase the font size, and if we want to bold this text right here, let's go ahead and bold our title right here and here as well for the trend lines. And then what I'm going to start doing here is I'm just going to go ahead and show you how to color this stuff in. I usually think the lighter colors look better, so I'm just going to give you an example of how you may want to color it in. And in just a second, I'm going to show you the finished product of after I've colored everything in, what it may look like. You may want to change some of the colors to your liking, but I tend to think that the lighter colors look best. And if you want to change the color on a chart, if you double click and go to this area right here, you can see it gives you the option on how you want to color your chart. So here's some good options. I like to go with these colors for my charts. And you can see the color really adds a lot of value to the way that your stock watch list will look. And so this is what our finished watch list is going to look like. I've gone ahead and colored everything in, so you can copy what I've done if you want, or you can color it in as you see fit. And really the important thing is to understand how this watch list is used. So like I said, this is an interactive watch list. We have our stock rating that's going to automatically tell us when we should buy, hold, or sell stocks based upon what we've put in here. So let's show another example of that. Let's say we're looking at our Verizon stock right here. And let's say that we think Verizon is worth about $60 and we want to sell at $70. And we can see based upon that, this would be a stock that we want to buy. Or we could say that we think Verizon is worth about $40, and if it hits that, we want to sell at $50. And based upon that, our stock rating will tell us to sell. And of course we have our symbol listed here with all these metrics that will automatically fill in based upon what we put in. So let's go ahead and change Tesla back to Apple, and we can see based off of this, it's going to tell us our day's high, low. You can see everything listed here. And then we want to put in our target buy price for Apple and our target sell price. And based upon this, we can see that we want to sell. And then we have our industry listed here. This is a really great thing to be able to see. And then of course we have our stocks at a glance area where we can select the stock that we want to look at. So let's say we want to look at the Walt Disney Company. If we select Disney here, we can see their 12-month trend line, their 1-month trend line, and we can see their price, their days change, the 12-month return, the industry, and the days high and the days low. So this is one of my favorite parts of the watch list where we can better see the individual metrics at a glance for each individual stock. And then of course down here we have the charts that we've created. We have our industry days change and our individual stock days change as well. And so now you've had a tutorial on how not only to use this watch list to your advantage and to help your trading, but also a tutorial on how to create this chart as well. So this is a really useful tool, and I think it'll help you guys out a ton. If you'd like to be able to download this watch list or any of my other stock portfolio trackers that I've created in Google Sheets, then you can head over to my Patreon page. The link will be in the description and you can download them there. And if you guys have made it to the end of this video, then that means you've created a very useful stock watch list. I think it'll help you guys out a lot, and I hope you enjoy it. So with that being said, please don't forget to like and subscribe to the channel. Thanks so much.